Hello guys, welcome to the 3D market commentary for today. Today is November the 1st, so hope you guys had a great end, not just to your weekend, but to the month. Obviously Halloween season as well. Hopefully you guys got a lot of treats and not a lot of tricks. So our 3D market commentary, let me just make sure I put the disclaimers up actually just now. Disclaimers on the top left hand corner, so please read them. And as they're up there, I will explain what the 3D market commentary is. Now, every day we send out an email to our free members that has information on 5 major markets in the world, looking at 3 major elements per market based on statistics and technology. 3 different things that we look at. So we call it a 3D market commentary because we do these videos to expand on that email and give it a little bit more context. So we'll get into that in a minute. Now, if you have questions after watching this video, you can email me. There's Becky@tradictive.com. There's also support@tradictive.com, so you can email us on either one of those. And there's also, if I bring it up, there is also tradewithufos.com/Becky. That is the link that you can go to. So from here, you can do a variety of things. You can get apps directly from here for different platforms that you might be using. You can book one-on-one coaching if you'd like to do that. And you can also come down here, sign in, and then ask questions on this public setting or in this public setting. And the reason why that's good is because it means that other people, like down here, can see those questions and they can see the answers. So it means we can all learn from that area. So if you do feel comfortable to ask questions in that place, ideally that's where you'd go. So it's tradewithufos.com/Becky. Right, let's bring up that email so we can give this a little bit more context and explain here what's going on. So obviously everything that we're going to be looking at, everything that we talk about in terms of probabilities and statistics is relevant to the charts, relevant to what we see in the market. So I will go through both and give you an example of each and how it all works out. Now the 3D approach, as I said, called 3D because we look at 3 major things. The first thing that we're going to look at per market is called market climate. Essentially, where are the probabilities? Are the probabilities up and therefore we should buy, down and therefore we should sell, or nowhere and therefore we do nothing? Helps us answer that first question we should be asking ourselves as traders. Should I be buying, selling, or moving on from this opportunity? The market climate helps us to answer that question. Now we use AutoClimate to help us even further with this. Again, we're using technology to help give us answers that are more objective. So here we can see we've got different dots here. By the way, AutoClimate is a free app on most platforms you can get it on. Ignore the lines, look at the dots. If we have a thick blue dot, that tells us probability is upwards, so we should be more likely to buy. If we have a thick red dot, then probability is downwards. We should be more likely to look to sell. And if we have a thin dot of either colour, doesn't matter the colour, the fact that it's thin is it AutoClimate's way of telling us that we don't have enough probabilities either way, therefore we do nothing. So we're going to look at that per market. Now we're looking at a daily chart per market, but essentially what we're looking at here is on the daily chart of these markets that we're looking at, where are the probabilities? Up, down or nowhere? And we'll use the AutoClimate app to help us with that. Then what we might want to know are where are the buyers and where are the sellers? Where are big stacks of buyers waiting to buy? Where are big stacks of sellers waiting to sell? And that's helpful because big stacks of buyers are likely to push price up. Big stacks of sellers are likely to push price down. So we want to know where they are. Again, we use an app called AutoUFOs, stands for unfilled orders. And we can see these green little UFOs with the prices on the right hand side. Those are buyers. Those show us where buyers are. Then we have these little red UFOs with the numbers on the right hand side. Those show us where sellers are. So we can have a good idea of where price might be falling from or going up from, depending on when it hits these buyers and sellers. Then the last thing we look at is market volatility. How quickly are these markets moving? So let's look at these per market, and we will start with the S&P 500. It's just loading now. There we go. Thought my internet might have dropped for a second there, just a bit of a slow load. Cool, so with the S&P 500, that's the top 500 US stocks, we have a confirmed upwards climate. Thick blue dot, probability there to the upside. We're slightly overextended, we've got a few days over what would be normal, that's what these stats here tell us, but we're still probability to the upside. We also have buyers beneath us. That's between 45.51.50 to 45.15.25. That's what we have, those buyers. So overall probability up here with the S&P, with buyers underneath us as well. No sellers in sight for the time being. In terms of volatility, we'd expect the S&P to go up or down in 1 year of 16.69%. So that means in a day, movement up or down of 48.54 points. In a week is 106.85 points up or down. And in a month, 222.42 points up or down. Overall probability up on a daily chart for the S&P 500. Moving on to the next market now, which is oil. Now, in the meantime, as I load it, it says here about educating yourself. By all means, check out the courses that we do. We do courses in many different things: stocks, forex, futures, backtesting, trading plans, psychology. So by all means, check them out. Most of them come with a 3-month complimentary access to the apps. Now, AutoClimate is a free app on most platforms. You can get it on anyway. That's AutoClimate, which is this one. AutoUFOs, which is where we see the buyers and sellers. This is a paid-for subscription model. You can subscribe directly to the apps. You don't have to get a course in order to get the apps. But often it's actually cheaper to do it, to get a course and get the apps for free for 3 months than it would be to just get the apps. So hopefully that makes sense. So with oil, we have a confirmed upwards climate. Thick blue dot there, probability to the upside. Also, probability that it continues based on what usually happens, which again, these stats show us here. We have buyers underneath us at 78.89 to 74.96. That's where we have stacks of buyers. And again, no sellers in sight. So overall probability up here for oil. In terms of volatility, we expect price to go up or down in 1 year of 37.92%. So in a day, that's 2.01 points up or down. In a week, 4.42 points up or down. And in a month, 9.19 points up or down. That's crude oil. Now the next market is gold. Now as I'm loading gold, it says here about coaching and support. We do offer a bunch of coaching and support for free, so by all means please check them out. If not, we do offer a closed coaching community, which is a small monthly payment to give you access to more of our time in closed environments. But like I said, if not, there's a bunch of free resources out there as well, which can help. So with gold, we have an unconfirmed climate. That is a thin dot there. Doesn't matter the colour, it's a thin dot. Not enough probabilities either way. Now that's not surprising because we have buyers and sellers kind of overlapping each other here. We have buyers between 1786 to 1760.3, but we have sellers between 1804.4 and 1784.3. So we've got buyers and sellers overlapping each other, pushing down from the sellers, pushing up from the buyers. Not quite sure what's going on. That's why the climate is unconfirmed as well. We have two big players fighting against each other right now. So our job, when there are players fighting each other, when there are big stacks of buyers and sellers coming against each other, in an environment where we don't have a clear probability, we move on. Change time frame, change market. No need to trade something that doesn't have clear probability. Now, in terms of volatility, we'd expect gold to move up or down in 1 year of 16.07%. So in a day, that's 18.1 points up or down. In a week, 39.85 points. And in a month, 82.96 points up or down. Okay, next market is the US dollar. Now, the US dollar is responsible for about 80% of transactions worldwide every day. So be aware of what it does, whether you trade it or not. So with the US dollar, we have a confirmed upwards climate, a thick blue dot there, probability to the upside. We're also just starting what would be a usual move of 5 candles to the upside, and we're on the first one. So we do have probability that it continues up. However, we have something in the way here, which is a bunch of sellers. These sellers are between 94.57 to 94.235. Price came into them yesterday and has been pushed down since. That's what we expect sellers to do, is push price down, which is why we want to know where they are so that we can sell there too. So what we have is pressure to the upside coming from the climate, but pressure to the downside coming from this stack of sellers. So again, we've kind of got this a point in each camp thing going on right now. I personally would choose to keep out of that rather than get involved. Now, in terms of volatility, we expect the US dollar to move up or down in 1 year of 5.49%. So that's 0.33 points up or down in a day, 0.72 points in a week, and 1.49 points in a month. So that's the US dollar. Okay, now last but not least is backed Bitcoin. So with backed Bitcoin, we have a thick blue dot here. Probability to the upside, confirmed upwards climate. We also have buyers beneath us at 58,347.5 to 53,860. So overall, probability up there with Bitcoin. Now in terms of volatility, we expect Bitcoin to go up or down in 1 year of 90.42%. So in a day, that's 3,564.79 points up or down. In a week is 7,847.53, and in a month 16,335.94. So a bit more volatile than the others. Now for each of these markets, we have looked at climate, which tells us where probabilities are, up, down or nowhere. We've looked at buy and sell UFOs. Where do we have buyers and sellers if they were here? None on this chart, but where do we have buyers and sellers that could push price up or down respectively? And we've looked at volatility. How quickly could these markets move? Now, everything we look at is to do with statistics and probabilities. Nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is 100%, not in life and not in the markets. So we still manage our risk and we still might apply extra things on top of this to increase our probability. Depends on your trade plan and your trading profile. But at least we want to know where the probabilities are lying in the first place before we even start any kind of process. So hopefully this gave you a bit more context as to where those probabilities are coming from. Now, one more thing to be aware of is our weekly economic calendar, which looks like a long one this week. So we get this from fxstreet.com, the economic calendar. And what we do is we filter by high impact news, meaning we want to know which scheduled news reports are coming out that could create volatility in the markets, that could push these markets up or down maybe a little bit erratically. So today being Monday, we have some news coming out in a little while on the US dollar or US markets. This evening, we have news coming out on the Japanese yen or Japanese markets, and then later on the Australian markets. So if you trade those currencies or within those stock markets, perhaps be aware of those things so that you can adjust your trade risk accordingly. Now, any questions, you can email me, but of course there is always tradewithufos.com/Becky. You can come here to get apps if you need them. You can come here to book one-on-one coaching if you want that. And you can come here to post questions in order to have your question answered on this page so that other people can see the questions and answers and all learn from that area, ideally. So hopefully you guys have a great start to your trading week. I'll be back on Thursday for the next market commentary. My colleague Boyan will be taking it tomorrow and Wednesday. So have a great week, guys, and I will see you towards the back end